It is 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. You have earned this. The day is done, the obligations are handled, and you have approximately 2 hours before you should reasonably be asleep. 2 hours to watch whatever you want from a library of thousands of titles available instantly in your home for a price that is less than one movie ticket. 45 minutes later, you are still scrolling. You have hovered over something 3 times. You have read the same description twice without retaining a single word of it. You have opened a trailer, watched 9 seconds, and closed it without knowing why. You have cycled through every category, come back to the home screen, briefly considered rewatching something you have already seen, just to avoid the weight of having to choose. And at some point, somewhere between the third lap through the thriller section and the moment you genuinely considered just going to bed, you felt something that is surprisingly hard to name. Not boredom exactly, not laziness, something more like a kind of low-grade exhaustion from a decision that should not be this hard. Here's the thing. It's not you. It is literally, measurably, scientifically not you, and the explanation is more interesting than you'd expect. Let's start with a jar of jam. In 2000, psychologists Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper ran what became one of the most cited experiments in all of consumer psychology. They set up a tasting display in a grocery store, on one day with 24 varieties of jam, on another day with 6. The display with 24 jams attracted more people to stop and look, but the display with 6 jams was 6 times more likely to result in an actual purchase. More options, more interest, less decision, less satisfaction. Psychologist Barry Schwartz spent years studying what he called the paradox of choice, the counterintuitive finding that as the number of options available to us increases, our ability to choose and our satisfaction with what we choose reliably decreases. Here's is why. Every option you consider comes with an invisible cost, what economists call opportunity cost. The price of choosing something is everything else you could have chosen instead. With 6 jams, that cost is manageable. With 24 jams, or 7,000 Netflix titles, the cost of choosing any single one is the awareness that 6,999 other things exist that you are not watching. Your brain does not find this liberating. Your brain finds this quietly, persistently exhausting. Now, this is where it gets personal. Economist Herbert Simon, who won a Nobel Prize incidentally, identified 2 fundamentally different strategies people use when making decisions. Satisficers look for an option that is good enough. They find it, they stop. Maximizers look for the best possible option. They cannot stop until they're confident that nothing better exists. On a streaming platform with an effectively infinite library, the maximizer has a problem. A 2002 study by Schwartz and colleagues, published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, found that maximizers make objectively better choices by external measures. They often end up with something technically superior to what satisficers pick, and they enjoy it less. Because the entire time they are watching, some part of them is still wondering if there was something better that they missed. The movie is good. They know the movie is good. But the scrolling didn't stop when they pressed play. It just moved inside. But here's the part that goes deeper than jam and streaming libraries. The research on maximizing consistently shows that the inability to settle, the compulsion to keep looking even when something good is right there, is not just a quirk of preference. It is significantly correlated with anxiety, with perfectionism, and with something researchers call anticipated regret. Anticipated regret is the fear experienced before a decision of how bad you will feel if the choice turns out to be wrong. And the way the mind manages that fear is not by making a decision. It is by delaying the decision, because as long as you haven't chosen, you haven't yet made the wrong choice. The scrolling is not laziness. It is the mind doing what it does when the cost of being wrong feels higher than it probably is, protecting you from a regret that, for a Tuesday night TV decision, is almost certainly not coming. Researcher Roy Baumeister's work on what he called ego depletion, the finding that the capacity to make decisions is a limited resource that depletes across the day, adds another layer. By 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, you have already made hundreds of decisions: what to eat, what to say, what to prioritize, how to respond, when to push back, what to let go. The decision-making resource that your brain draws from is not replenished just because the stakes got lower. It is the same resource, and it is tired. Which is why when you sit down on the couch and open the app, something interesting happens neurologically. Neuroscientist Marcus Reich's research on what he called the default mode network, the brain's resting state activity, active specifically when you are not focused on an external task, found that this network does something that looks a lot like browsing. It generates options. It wanders. It considers. It revisits. It is, in essence, the mental equivalent of scrolling, and it was doing this long before Netflix existed. So when you sit down exhausted, intending to relax, and find yourself unable to make the single decision that would allow that, your tired, depleted brain has handed the controls to its default mode, the part that generates possibilities rather than the part that selects one. You are not failing to relax. You are failing to switch out of the one mental mode that is still running on empty. Here's what the research actually suggests, and I want to be honest that this is not a complicated fix. The solution to choice overload is not a better algorithm. It is not more self-discipline. It is, and this is backed by actual data, fewer options. Iyengar and Lepper's JAM study was not a metaphor. The mechanism is literal. Reduce the consideration set, and both the decision and the satisfaction improve. Which means the most effective thing a chronic Netflix scroller can do is not to try harder to choose. It is to choose before they sit down. When the decision is made before decision fatigue sets in, before the couch, before the remote, before the blank open library meets an already depleted brain, the Tuesday night problem largely disappears. And for maximizers specifically, for the people who cannot choose because some part of them is still searching for the best possible option, Schwartz's research found something that sounds obvious in retrospect, but lands differently when the data is behind it. The maximizer's strategy does not produce more happiness. It produces better outcomes at a measurable cost to the experience of them. Satisficing, choosing the thing that is good enough and committing to it fully, is not settling. It is the decision strategy associated with higher reported enjoyment, lower post-decision regret, and, here is the one that matters most, more actual watching, as opposed to 45 minutes of not watching anything while theoretically preparing to do so. And there is something worth naming at the end of all this, something that goes past the Netflix problem. The mind that cannot settle on a show is very often the same mind that has difficulty settling in other places. In relationships where the question, is there someone better out there, never fully goes quiet. In careers where the path chosen always carries the ghost of the paths not taken. In the general experience of a life that has more options than any previous human generation, and is, paradoxically, finding the abundance harder to enjoy than scarcity was. This is not a personal failure. It is the predictable result of a brain shaped for one environment, operating in a completely different one. The brain that evolved to keep scanning for better options was shaped in a world where options were few, and the stakes of choosing wrong were real. It was not built for Netflix. No brain was. The ones that enjoy it the most are the ones that gave themselves permission to stop looking the moment they found something good enough. If you watched this entire video without stopping to check what else was available, that means something. Not something profound, just you made a choice, you committed to it, and you got something out of it, which is, as it turns out, the whole thing. Subscribe if you want more of that. This channel picks things worth your time and trusts you to show up for them. No scrolling required.